SML is a channel with a lot of great elements. The comedy, the ambition, the characters, most of them, the soundtrack and the heart in some occasions. But the one thing that SML has done horribly is romantic relationships. Every single couple in the SML universe is either toxic or just outright destructive. So today I'm going to talk about the problem with SML couples. So usually in SML, the couples are pretty much the same, whether it's Tyrone and Judith, Brooklyn T. Guy and Karen, Marvin and Rose and Junior and Penelope. They're all very inconsiderate to each other, constantly make fun of each other. When they do compliment each other, they turn it into a joke, and they give a sense that they really care for each other. A lot of the time they cheat on each other and do their best to cover it up. Especially Tyrone. WHO is by far the worst husband out of all of them. He rarely does anything for Judith, and when he does it's usually to get her back. After that he goes right back to cheating on her, not caring a single bit about his wife's feelings. Some of the time even threatening her if she leaves him. Although there are times Tyrone can be pretty funny, like in that McDonald's episode. Most of the time he is abusive, toxic, mean and just an overall terrible husband. That's not to say Judith doesn't have her faults as a part of this couple. There are times where she cheats on Tyrone and times where she can be very hypocritical, but in comparison to Tyrone she is an angel. This relationship is the most unhealthy, toxic relationship in SML by far, and it's probably best Judith does divorce Tyrone and take Cody far away from him so they can both live a better life. And by this point it's obvious Tyrone is not gonna stop cheating on Judith. Now the next couple I want to talk about isn't as toxic as Tyrone and Judith, but it's still pretty bad, and that is Brooklyn T. Shit Guy and Karen. As much as I don't like Brooklyn Guy, at least he's not abusive towards his wife or daughter, and at least he does some nice things for them even if it's few and far between. He does do stuff like throw Karen a birthday party or give Penelope a birthday present, but he's still a terrible husband. I've already talked about how he didn't care about his own daughter getting kidnapped, but most of the time when her around Karen, he does nothing but belittle her, call her ugly, never give her any compliments, and doesn't even like her. Karen has a few issues, but she's still more likable than Brooklyn when it comes to their marriage. Even though she makes mistakes and doesn't make the smartest decisions, she still cares about her husband and tries to be a good wife. Most of the toxicity comes from Brooklyn T. Guy, and I'm not saying this because I think he's overrated. I mean legit, most of the toxicity in the relationship comes from him. He constantly does nothing but insult and bully Karen, even though she's clearly trying. So these two have a better relationship than Tyrone and Judith, but that's seriously not saying much. I recently made a video talking about Junior and Penelope and if they should have ever gotten together. If you want to see that video then click here. But anyway, these two have a very rocky relationship. Junior is very toxic towards Penelope, just like he is with Cody, always belittling her and calling her hobbies stupid, as well as being extremely sexist, as well as cheating on her just like Tyrone, and most of the time not caring about her or her needs. Penelope has her issues, like threatening to break up with Junior over dumb reasons, roping him in to do things he doesn't want to, as well as making him run everything by her before he does it. Not a very healthy relationship, but just like I said in my video, they are one of the better couples in SML. They were still not a good couple, but they are nowhere near as bad as the last two. Surprisingly, Marvin and Rose have the healthiest relationship out of all the SML couples. Shocking, right? That shows how toxic the SML couples are. Now this is an opinion people are definitely going to disagree on, but I don't think Rose is that bad. Now don't get me wrong, she does have a lot of flaws, but she's still pretty okay except for all those annoying bits where she threatens to divorce Marvin for cheating on her when he doesn't. But besides that, she's not as bad as people say. She still has a somewhat healthy relationship with Marvin, and they do have genuine moments of romance. Their chemistry is almost always on point, and although I get why people say she's an idiot, you have to remember in the context of SML, she's not technically a human, she's a starlass, and therefore she doesn't function the same way humans do, and outside of all the characters, she doesn't really do anything that's stupid. She lets Jeffy do stupid things and fucks with Marvin a lot, but compared to characters like Junior, Jeffy, and especially Brooklyn Guy, she's nowhere near as stupid. I'm very mixed on Marvin as a character. On the one hand, he is very romantic, attentive, and extremely hilarious, but on the other, he can be a bit heartless and cruel. When it comes to Jeffy, I get Jeffy is a train wreck of a character, but that doesn't make it okay for him to not care about Jeffy or lack any real emotional grief when he thinks Jeffy is dead. There were times where you could tell he did care about Jeffy when he was Mario, but nowadays when plot points where they think Jeffy comes up, The delivery of his emotional scenes are so unbelievable it makes him a bit unlikable. But for the most part Marvin is a loving husband to Rose, and that's pretty much it for SML Cool. Oh, no. I completely forgot about this atrocious pairing. Mr. and Mrs. Huckerdoo, what a terrible toxic relationship. This is a new low even for fucking SML couples. I thought Tyrone and Judith we were bad, but fuck balls. This couple is 10,000 times worse than they ever were. Mr. and Mrs. Huckerdoo are the combination of all the shitty, toxic, unloving, cold-hearted relationships in one abominable pile. Mr. Huckerdoo is not only a terrible father, but an extremely abysmal husband. He shows no love for his wife. He abuses her verbally and physically. He orders her around, cheats on her and is proud of it, and is way more in love with his lawn than his fucking wife. Their relationship is so toxic and so atrociously unhealthy that there is an entire episode dedicated to Mrs. Huckerdoo trying to get with another man because she's so sick of her life with her abusive train wreck of a husband, and I don't blame her. She should have gotten a divorce as soon as she found out what a conniving shitty douchebag he really is. Tyrone may have been a cheating, unfaithful scumbag. Junior might be a belittling sexist jerk, and even Brooklyn may be an uncaring selfish dick, but Mr. Huckerdoo is on an entirely different league of awful. I'll have to do an entire video on this monster. He is so bad. These two are without a doubt the worst couple in SML. So as you can tell, SML doesn't have the best couples. They are very problematic and are filled with flaws that make them so detestably unlikable. But why is this? Why are SML couples so bad? I hate to be the finger pointer once again, but I'm going to have to go with the way they are written. Yes, once again I'm talking about our good friend, Logan Third himself. As I said in my Brooklyn Guy video, he doesn't seem to have the best writing skills. His characters are pretty much similar in a lot of ways, and that very much affects how the couples are portrayed. When you gave characters that don't have any personality outside of their one note trait, which is usually for the purpose of a running joke, it makes the couples come across as unlikable, unsympathetic, and extremely toxic. And don't get it twisted, I'm not saying this to trash Logan or command his channel. I'm just giving my personal thoughts on what I think they should do to improve the writing. Whether Logan does this or not is totally up to him, but I think it would benefit the show greatly if Logan gave the other cast members a chance to write their own characters and stories. Like when Pixar's John Lasseter allowed Pete Docter and Andrew Stanton to write their own movies, which gave Pixar a lot of variety and allowed them to produce unique and high-quality content. If Logan allowed Lovell, Elena or Pooby to write an episode and the characters, not only would it give the show more variety, but it could make the show feel fresh and fix the issues in the writing, especially how the couples are executed. Again, I'm not telling Logan what to do, I'm just giving advice, so don't get it twisted like some of you do. Anyways guys, what do you think of SML couples? And do you think my advice would help in any way? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you later.